only goes one way, as you mentioned. It only goes all in, but he missed a couple of those flash tibbers, importantly. And in general, it just felt like the Annie pick didn't really do what we expected out of Annie and what we expect out of Cloud. We have high expectations. That's why you call him. That's why you call your disappointment, and he just couldn't come through.
Pretty weird as well to see someone that's got such reliable flash cylinder ultimates to feel a little off kilter on the Annie there. But we are into Champs League now for Game 2, and OMG might look to change some things, and already the differences are there. Sejuani is their first ban, and EP answer with the standard LeBlanc.
And Sejuani, that is not the last time we will see her on the ban. It looks to be one of the standard bans on patch 5.6. Watching some of the LSPL yesterday, Sejuani also was a big factor in the wins there. So Sejuani in China definitely looking like a critical pick. They're excellent with their layering of CC. I thought it would be a champion that would just be kind of underrepresented, just because it felt like with all the aggressive counter junglers in China, they'd be able to deal with the Sejuani, but Loveling tried once and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, couldn't get it done as Maokai, the second ban for EP, and he actually banned there by OMG, respecting the pick's power, I guess, in this current meta. But OMG going to look for their third ban, and I wonder if will they pick on another member of Energy Pacemaker? Maybe the Gnar gets banned away.
Well, I feel like Energy Pacemaker have to ban Kalista with their last ban. So OMG can start thinking about what champions they want to first pick. They do not want to give 2 power picks to Energy Pacemaker with the rotation, and they can almost 100% guarantee that Uzi's Kalista will be banned with the 6th ban of this game.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. Uzi has not seen that champion in too many times, and with good reason. Rek'Sai banned away here from OMG. Nidalee was banned in the last series as well to sort of take some of those top-tier junglers out of the pool. A third jungler now has been banned, with Sejuani getting taken away as well. But EP have to decide, is it the Kalista that they feel like they have to ban, or do they want to pick on another jungler?
I think you just go for the Kalista. This is patch 5.6 where everything's in vogue. There's counter picks aplenty because there's so many different champions in the viable pool. The amount of must-ban champions have gone down. We still haven't seen Kassadin come out on patch 5.6. Only one game so far, but the rework Kassadin priority was so high previous to the rework. It'll be interesting to see whether we see much Kassadin. Nidalee's the last ban, though. They're banning Nidalee over any of the other Cinderhulk junglers, or even Uzi's Kalista, and I'd be surprised to see anything else locked in, but nah, it's been very successful for Going. Maybe they feel they have to take this away from Amazing J.
And I have to echo you there, it's not just Kalista, it's Uzi's Kalista. That man is an absolute terror on the champion, but it was the Nidalee ban, surprisingly, from Energy Pacemaker, and OMG are considering something quite different here with the Gnar pick. Amazing J looked great, and Going said good games as well, and it is first pick Gnar for OMG.
But it doesn't feel like they really got anything out of the picks and bans, because of course Hecarim's available, just hasn't been selected. It might be Amazing J taking Hecarim into the Gnar matchup that he already did so well in the reverse matchup. That would show confidence in the champion pool, but he's not really locked into picking his top laner just yet with Gnar taken away, and that's going to be Kalista for a second time for Zhengao. As a new member of this roster, go for the comfort, give him that champion again.
Yeah, take it away from Uzi especially. You have to pick it up there. We've got Thresh now for sure, one of his better champions that we've seen, so I like what's going on so far, but OMG certainly felt a little scattered, I feel like, in picks and bans especially. And this draft may be no different. Starting off with a Gnar with all these power picks available is different, to say the least.
It doesn't feel like they won the draft when it comes to the first 3 picks. You always wonder, okay, what's the first pick? Is it one of those first pick, first ban champions? And what does Energy Pacemaker get with their 2 picks? You have to say Energy Pacemaker did pretty well for themselves, but suddenly we see 2 potential junglers pulled up, and maybe this will be the debut of supporterless in the LPL.
Yeah, wait a second, because these do not line up the way you'd think. I thought, oh yeah, Nautilus jungler, that's kind of interesting, but no, Loveling is going to take Rengar, it looks like here, unless no, Going can't land it. He's already got the Gnar. So, yeah, probably supportless for Cloud. He's a big Thresh player. Kind of makes sense. He's a big playmaker, so I like the champion from Cloud, but has not been played until today, it seems like.
And look, it's definitely going to be Hook City in the bottom lane between Thresh and Nautilus. Plenty of interactions going there. So naturally tanky, and then, of course, has the shield that you can max on the W. Actually, it feels like the support lanes and a lot of lanes have been maxing the Riptide just to get it down to a 6-second cooldown at a very early stage. That was the big change with Nautilus. Went from the 10-second flat cooldown Riptide from an 8 to 6 second scaling, so can get very low. Even with the natural itemization and the support, CDR's 1 stat, they get aplenty.
Yeah, and EP have actually answered with some curious picks of their own. Their solo laners appear to be all accounted for now, as Cho'Gath is one of the picks, and Aurelia for Amazing J up against the Gnar. We've seen this a lot. Aurelia was very popular when Gnar was in vogue, and Amazing J knows the matchup well. I have to think that's mid Cho'Gath, and OMG are flashing some champions.
And they're not flashing. That's a locked-in Anivia coming through for Cool. Where we're talking about his champion pool. He showed us Vladimir, now he's going to show us Anivia. Wave clear aplenty. Lots of descent for this last AD carry pick, but with 4 effectively tanks in front of him. Anivia does build up a very high health pool, despite not being a tanky champion in terms of base stats, and a Jinx just going for the resets behind him. EP, they're looking for dive plenty.
Yeah, and you have to kill these fairly late game scaling mid and bottom laners as well. Uzi, I think, really wanted to play Vayne, but his coach and analyst said, no. You could see him on camera sort of slumping back in his chair, being like, fine, I'll play Jinx, but, you know, needs a hyper carry. OMG swapping styles up quite significantly here. Lots of peel here for Uzi. He's going to have a big carry performance, and he's had good-looking games, but it's been a while since OMG have played like this. They've almost never played like it. An EP, keep aggression, and pick Lee Sin as their last champion.
It feels like OMG stepped away from that first series and were told, all right, CC's pretty good against consistent damage. They picked just all of the CC in this situation between the Anivia Flash Frost, the 4 CCs coming out from Nautilus, Rengar. They're going for a very different style of jungler for Loveland. This has been the Insect special, been loving the Rengar. We still don't know, is it going to be a damage Rengar? Is it going to be a more tanky Rengar? It feels like they might need the damage, but you don't have to pigeonhole yourself at least early. A very CC-heavy comp with Jinx against what is a more balanced comp coming through from EP.
And I guess kind of looking through the matchups here, which I guess we'll go through in a second. I actually really love the bottom lane pick here. Never mind, we'll go through the matchups and get there, but here's the top lane. Very standard stuff in the first few weeks. It's Gnar versus Irelia.
And with the little Gnar tweaks, nerfs as we'd like to call them in general, Irelia does better and better in this matchup. Of course, on 5.6, she loses a 40 damage at highest level off her Equilibrium Strike, which has been the standard max recently. Be interesting to track whether we still see an E max or maybe move back towards the W. The jungle matchup, Rengar's the big question mark, can be feast or famine. In the mid lane, we're going to see plenty of wave clearing coming through, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we're going to see quite a lot more of this, you have to think, as we move to the bottom lane. Jinx versus Kalista, an interesting matchup. Not too sure who's favored there, but this is what I love here. Cloud going to play the Nautilus, Shu going to have the Thresh, but Nautilus into Kalista especially. Nautilus just does such a good job of locking her down.
And we coined it Hook City, but that's what it feels like. You've got consistent damage AD carries with very low squishiness, without many escapes in the martial poise. It's a reposition, not necessarily escape. And you've got big hooks coming through. So if the hook lands, it feels like whichever one comes first should be pretty good for that completed bot lane.
Yeah, Nautilus kind of gets the cheat there. Once he gets his ult, he doesn't need to land it. It's almost guaranteed once everything else comes in. But Shu, fantastic Thresh player in his own right, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, Riptide, the passive, the hook, even some consistent CCs coming through from the E. Nautilus has a lot of CC in the bot and is tanky, but Thresh, he can do amazing things. And if they hit that Thresh hook, you die pretty quickly if you're Jinx.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned damage. I actually think OMG's damage is fine. Anivia is deceptively good, and Jinx is just great.
And I guess I didn't really factor in Irelia. Should be doing a lot more consistent damage in fights compared to the Gnar, who's really only there for the control CC. Irelia versus Gnar. The Gnar on the OMG side, Anivia's damage, it's kind of a question mark to me, though. I mean, the burst damage is good. The consistent damage, it feels like you pick up an Aegis and the ultimate doesn't really do a lot of damage. It's more for the wave clear. But we'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed. We're going to get straight into game 2. Welcome back, everyone. We're here for our second game between OMG and Energy Pacemaker, and Supportless has decided to make an appearance today.
Supportless making its grand appearance into the LPL in the second game. It feels like all the scattered trends, all the off-meta picks are coming out very quick in the LPL, and with a break, you know, teams have had time. A lot of teams, especially the ones not involved in the Demacia Cup, have had time to look to other regions and see, okay, what's going on, and really work out what's good and what's not, and it feels like everything's going to get a spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing to highlight here is 2 different games in mid lane and 2 very farm-heavy champions. We had Karma Vladimir as our first mid lane matchup, and this time it's Cho'Gath versus Anivia.
Cho'Gath versus Anivia. Definitely wave clear City coming through in the mid lane. Probably not expecting any solo kills, but it's worth noting that Anivia, although she has that rebirth passive, does have very low base stats. You know, we'll build a Rod of Ages. We'll get tanky later. But if you get in there with the gank, Cho'Gath Lee Sin can do a lot of work. Those base values for Cho'Gath are very high.
Yeah, real squishy there as Anivia is. We are going to break back out into standard lanes again here. Relic Shields ahoy here for both Nautilus and the Thresh, but Cloud here is going to try and not get harassed. And I guess that's the other little difference here is Thresh, short range, but still ranged in this matchup.
Absolutely. Range versus melee is the big difference. The CC advantage definitely with Nautilus. The tankiness advantage probably slightly with Nautilus. We're seeing in the mid lane.
Loveling there. Very cheesy level 2 gate. Nails the snare though. Frost Frost's going to to follow in, and First Blood calmly goes to Cool.
Yeah, actually with the Scream, couldn't blow up the Flash Frost for the stun, but the damage was enough. The Iciness passive came through. The E damage is doubled, and that's the First Blood coming through for OMG.
Low had to use the Flash and couldn't escape, and it's been a while since we've seen it, but Loveling, very creative level 2 gank.
Yeah, well, that Loveling's level 2 gank is worth noting. That's why we were so surprised. That's why we were caught off guard a little bit. Level 2 ganks, it almost felt like a relic of the past, especially with how punishing the jungle is after the remake. But if you get to that first buff, you smite the red, you're near full health if you're Lee Sin, and you pick up a kill and profit.
Going now in the top side up against Amazing J's Aurelia. No, I mean, we've seen this matchup so often, it feels like very early levels favor for Gnar, especially in mini-Gnar form, but Aurelia will just get further and further ahead as the lane goes on.
And I guess we need a little bit more information of how this matchup goes with potentially a change in skill max as in the mid lane.
Yeah, now trouble actually, but Captain 57 coming through. Lee Sin, a good stun moving in, a great teleport as well. Cool. Instantly flashes up, but Loveling is not so lucky. Amazing J teleports in and picks up the kill for himself.
Didn't have Flash did low, so wasn't in range to Flash Q, so the teleport is confirmed from Amazing J. Has to leave lane, so Gnar gets a bit of lane control, but still hasn't pushed the minion wave into the turret. So lose 1, 2, 3 CS, but definitely a big pickup with the kill. And the red buff.
And nice port from Amazing J. Red buff a big factor in this matchup as well. Haven't quite seen what the max is at level 3. Has a point in each of them, but Amazing J had a great game in Game 1, and Game 2 off to a very good start with the First Blood.
Guess we shouldn't be surprised that, you know, with these champion pools, known for his Hecarim, known for his Gnar, still able to throw in the Aurelia because that's one of the best champions against those two. Is going to actually still max the Equilibrium Strike, so eventually we'll feel the difference with the 40 damages in the bot lane.
Yeah, Uzi's in trouble though. Cloud actually fighting aggressively. Shu, no mana though, going to get bound up. Going this time, so on with the teleport. They're going to try and make the difference, but can't get the kill. A little bit of damage there as Captain 57 wandered down for a bit of counter pressure, and OMG, they try the teleport, it fails.
Yeah, Shu did fall during that whole engage though, did die, so that's another answering kill for top laners. Teleports have definitely been confirmed in this situation. Lane control goes first to the Gnar, now to the Aurelia. Aurelia, I feel, with all the nerfs, you know, when you kind of step away and say, okay, 40 damage away from me, I believe that just the Gnar nerfs definitely are much stronger than the ones through Aurelia. Aurelia's nerf pale in comparison, so still should start to boss this lane around the level 7 to 8 mark.
Yep, so certainly no failure there, excuse me, as OMG do get themselves a kill in that situation. Loveling coming up to the top now, so will cover and pick up a bit of farm and extra experience for himself. Amazing J going to go back, and Cool, as you return, has come back to lane with his Catalyst.
Just going to be building towards the Rod of Ages, not really unexpected. Needs a big mana pool to be able to pull off either the stalemate or the pushing games as we move into the later and later game. Dragon started though from EP, despite all of this, despite the pressure in mid lane definitely being the advantage of OMG. EP want to sneak this Dragon.
Yeah, and it looks like they might be able to get it here as well. No vision currently available around the pit. No vision really anywhere at the early levels because it's just so early in the game. Cloud will move up to wall, but he doesn't quite spot them off. Might have got a hint of them, and now we'll walk past them and be like, uh-oh, there's a Dragon being started. Immediately, OMG look to collapse. Shu and Captain 57 have to be careful. Shu will get snared up there by the hook. Now Uzi going to come in. The Dragon will go down, but what will EP lose out of it? Captain 57 trying to get away. Good Q there by Low, actually, onto Cool, and Uzi gets a first kill onto Thrash. Captain 57 might be soon to fall here as well. Zango, though, doing a nice job as Low moves in as well. A great wall there from Cool as Loveling moves in now for Low. He will go down as Cool gets another kill, and the Dragon for 2 kills, maybe not, although Uzi did go down as well.
And sometimes we overly narrowly think of Anivia about early burst damage and then about consistent wave clear, but the wall is always the big unexpected factor. Completely secured them that kill on Cho'Gath. No flash available to get to safety. Very nice to use that in that choke point where level 1 still able to take the whole choke point. And in the top, Amazing J doesn't have red, but he's bossing going around.
Yeah, and right now, especially in mini-Gnar form, going can't really be competitive here in the lane, so Amazing J will zone him off. He's actually 10 CS ahead of the Gnar right now. But you want to talk about CS leads, just look back to that mid lane. 2 kills and an assist there for Cool, and already 25 CS ahead.
The gold advantage is significant as well. 44 CS to 20. Low looked good on the Karma, but now going for more of a equal laning matchup. You know, 2 wave clear champions. He's definitely getting wave cleared by Cool.
And Cool's Anivia, not a champion I usually remember him for, but looks stellar so far in the early stages of these games. So we'll see when that Rod of Ages timing comes through. If it's under 10 minutes, that'll be absolutely ridiculous as far as part times go. But OMG here with a pretty decent lead, actually. All those kills have gotten them to a nice little spot here, although the first Dragon did go over to Energy Pacemaker, and Leveling comes down to put some pressure on, but just finds a ward instead.
In general, OMG came to prominence during Season 3, specifically with the pick style that Anivia does have pick CC in the flash box, but is definitely not known for a high burst damage apart from the early laning phase. So in general, it just was never a champion that was in the meta when OMG were around as a team. Now with every champion seemingly being in the meta, able to pull through the Anivia and doing great work on it. It feels like when he picks up these champions, his first performance on a new champion can be very impressive. And
we've already touched on it a little bit, but it's probably worth highlighting that 5.6 really did change a lot. Cinderhulk, of course, bringing a lot of tank backs. Okay, what else? And Chalice coming back. What does that really mean? Well, probably the most obvious spot to start is the mid lane. Assassins, Chalice is a lot better, and people are just tankier because of Cinderhulk. It's not that good anymore. So what's happening in mid? Everyone's playing these high sustained damage mid laners now.
Control mages in general, or maybe even poke mages like the Calm we saw in the previous game, have definitely become the new norm of the mid lane. I mean, Orianna in particular, we haven't seen her this series, but if everyone's a ball carrier, everyone's a 3,000 to 4,000 health person that can get into the enemy backline, the Shockwave can really devastate an enemy team. Athene's is buffed, so it's much safer to play Orianna, who's already very good against assassin champions. So a lot of different things changing the meta. That also affects AD carries, though, pastry time. So people have really projected about patch 5.5, 5.6. We were already seeing Juggermore. If anything, it's been buffed because the people on the front line have got naturally tanky. You can run a jungler like Sejuani or another tank and just be a one-man front line much more efficiently. That means that the AD carries you pick need to be tank busters. They need to be the Jinxes, the Vayne that was being mused by Uzi during Champion Select, and the Kog'Maw, of course, which has continued to stay in the meta. So what do you do to get rid of these one-threat, two-threat comps? Remember, we just saw Energy Pacemaker win with a one-threat comp. You go for these positioning-based champions. You go for the likes of Anivia, who can, if they can split the AD carry from their team, they can win a fight with just the use of a utility ability. You go for the likes of Shyvana with the Dragon's Descent to push people out of fights. You have so many different options in terms of positioning, and that's what really starts to impact what becomes fairly low-threat comps.
And that was EP's big thing. They just had so much CC that even the one threat was enough because they were always able to set it up. And what a time to talk about cool as Leveling. Gonna pop his ulti and find Captain 57 in the jungle, gets snared up immediately. Hook does not land Cloud, that's not how that works. And Leveling will chase for another snare. Cool, gonna line it up and he'll get the recipient of another kill. Depth charge there onto low Cloud. Will land the ulti there on this Anivia 3-0-1. Rod of Ages was done at under 10 minutes.
And I believe there was a little bit of a lack of communication after what was wonderful communication in game one as the Dark Passage came through and Captain 57 still rode his resonating strike into his inevitable death to Anivia. So that's another kill coming through. Suddenly 2,500 gold. It's a bigger gold lead than we saw in the early game for EP last time around. OMG, they're looking good.
And it's cool that's been the recipient of all this gold. We've said his recent games have looked a little hot and cold, but this one is very strong so far in the early stages. Low will get stunned up as well. Good burst early on from the Anivia coming through, and cool starting to bully with the massive lead he's built up.
Absolutely. I mean, Cho'Gath was struggling from the very early laning phase. It continues. Cloud's looking aggressive. Hasn't used the Riptide just yet and backs out.
Yeah, Uzi going to come in, just a bit of poke, trying to keep Zhangao off the CS here, and he's done successfully. Uzi, we talk about it, no matter the champion, he's always aggressive in this bottom lane. And here in the Jinx versus Kalista matchup, Kalista is 30 CS behind.
And actually, the threat of the ultimate from Nautilus forces the defensive flash coming from Shu. He's only level 5, hasn't hit level 6. In the top lane, going, seeing some more attention.
Captain 57 here as well. Good slow there coming through. Lines up the queue. Very well played. And Amazing J is the recipient of very cool heads by Captain 57.
And these two did so much work in the previous game. They might need to be looked upon once again. Amazing J against the no-escape AD carry like Jinx can do a lot of work on Aurelia. And look, he might have wanted an off game. He might have wanted a bit of downtime after doing a lot of work against OMG in game one. But nope, he's going to be needed again.
And we're going to check back in with the coolers. Leveling is trying to line up a tower dive. I think Ultimate almost back, but not quite there yet. Good ward there by Kalista. Will spot him off as he comes in. Not quite in range yet. Very good placement of Leveling, knowing the fog of war, but forced to back away and cool. We saw his Rod of Ages at under 10 minutes. Now at just under 12, he's got a tier as well.
And in this game, the warding from OMG has been much improved. You see double pink wards around the entrances to their red side jungle, meaning that there's just a lot of safety around Dragon. They haven't got necessarily security over Dragon, but I believe it hasn't come. It is live at the moment, but they haven't got around to really securing it. EP got the first Dragon. OMG, they're going for this turret dive again.
Yeah, and they're going to go in cool, looking good, although they actually have to back away. I wonder what they're afraid of. Amazing J, he channeled the teleport, but did cancel it. That was the problem.
So Leveling looks to come back. Doesn't have the Thrill of the Hunt available now. Of course, the duration does scale over time. Doesn't have necessarily the Bone Tooth necklace stacks or enough points levels in the ultimate to have the longer duration to be able to re-engage, but they're still sniffing around for a pick. They've got the wall, so their ability to get a pick is just a lot higher than most mid-lane jungle duos.
Yep, Jinx gets the turret there as well as OMG continue to stack in the brush, looking for a pick, but won't find it. Instead, will rotate to the Dragon, and great vision control, that line of pink wards to their back, keeping all those entrances safe, gives them control of the neutral area, and OMG going to pick up their first Dragon.
Well, the closest defensive ward for EP is just under their outer mid lane turret. They have no ability to contest this Dragon. That's why we see Lee Sin's actually gone to the top side of the jungle, even with Dragon being available. It's not a realistic contest. Teleport not available from Amazing J. The only person who's really got going, actually going to be looking for a very good power time on the Trinity Force, even has the Ninja Tabi completed already.
Yeah,
a bit of a lone force at the moment, though, as the rest of that match, specifically that mid lane, struggling. Yeah,
Going now does have his Phage, has struggled a little bit in the lane, but does have a kill from that teleport, so got a bit of extra gold there, even and not too far behind in CS, so looking just fine. Infinity Edge now done for Jinx as well. Uzi farmed up a storm in the early stages of this game, still about 35 CS ahead, but top lane might change quite quickly as both Captain 57 and Shu have come up.
They're definitely not looking to prop up their losing lanes. They're looking to double down on a victory in the top lane. Going, he's been historically very good at avoiding turret dives, but it doesn't even look like it's going to necessarily have to be a turret dive if he goes past halfway up this lane.
And he's not going to, realizing it's just a little too dangerous. Amazing J will pop his head out of the brush and going, intelligently walks away, maybe gets a ward down and probably just going home.
I mean, at this point, Zhangao is in a bit of a quandary. He's halfway between both the Bloodthirster and the Hurricane, so definitely won't be teamfight ready for quite a while. A few thousand gold away from having any big items. Cho'Gath as well. Fiendish Codex next to a Catalyst, and not even a turret to show for in the mid lane. The pushing continues from Cool. He's actually been able to pick up what is almost a luxury tier at this point after he'd finished the Rod of Ages very, very early. Obviously charges up the tier very, very fast, but Seraphs and Rod of Ages, I mentioned it before, it's basically going to be 4 tanks and a Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, this is the build from Anivia, but the fact that Cool is basically going to skip any semblance of a power trough means Anivia is going to be scarier than normal at all stages of the game. Loveling already altered, looking for a pick, but we'll find a blue buff to give to Cool instead.
The only thing he can pick on is a neutral creep, which is a bit of a, a bit of a killjoy thing. Doesn't get any Bone Tooth necklace stacks from that one, but Cool having a permanently refreshed blue buff on Anivia. Back when Anivia was back in the meta, we remember the heady Froggen days of CLGEU. One of the only strategies to stop an Anivia store comp was to control the enemy blue, but in this case, the Anivia's controlling the enemy blue for a refresh.
Yeah, Anivia has been completely unlocked this game. Cool's even level 11 already, the highest in the game, I believe, or tied for highest with Amazing Joe, who's also having a good game. The tower looking to fall now as well. Cool did pick up the outer mid lane turret as well, so it'll be 2 turrets to 1 as Amazing J finishes this one off. OMG have good control, still that 3,000 gold lead here, but the last few minutes have not yielded them any further production. They've kept it neutral and ahead.
And the team comp really deals with what EP is looking to do very, very well. The only person strong is Aurelia, and if she dives into the backline, she will be completely shunted off from her other members with the wall coming through. I mean, Nivea's so good against melee champions in general, or champions without a dash. If the dash is coming through from Aurelia, if the Blade Surge is being used, it's definitely going to be used aggressively.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Nautilus as well being good against Kalista. Anivia is just fantastic against Kalista, because where are you ever going to get into a fight where you don't have to hop through Glacial Storm?
I mean, that's worth noting. I mean, what is she going to be able to use Martial Poise to dodge when we're talking about the guaranteed CC coming through from Nautilus with the ultimate, then in the dredge line, then we're talking about just masses of CC coming through, as you mentioned, Flash Frost, and the consistent attack speed and movement speed. So that's the thing that's lost, a bit like the Nunu ultimate. You notice the movement speed slow because you're a bit irritated that you can't move, but the attack speed slow against a Ren set-based build that's already got a recurve bow is going to be very noticeable in a team fight.
Yeah, Going and Clad will move in onto the Scuttle Crab as well, but Going is going home, so no Scuttle Crab quite yet. Uzi rotating to the top, has his Zeal back very swiftly again. Had a great game in game 1, but couldn't carry on a much more hyper carrier-esque champion now rather than a mid to late game carrier like Lucian. Looking to rotate, take some extra turrets down, and Zhangao is still stuck trying to outfarm Uzi, who's still 30 CS ahead.
But he has been able to freeze the point for a long time, but a fight's on.
Yeah, Cloud in there, but now Loveling going to move in. Amazing J going to dive in on top of the heel. Gets moved. The ultimate will move in as well, and Uzi will pick up the kill now. Cho'Gath moving back around. Captain 57 going to get low, but hops away. Flash flashes there as well as Cool's also come through. Loveling jumps into the bush with a flash and then dives in on top low. Great flash there through the bowler, gets the chomp down and will feast away. But Uzi going nuts under tower. Shu in trouble, going to get locked up again for the double kill for the Jinx. They'll likely take the tower as well. And EP lose 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 and a 4v4 and a turret going down as well for OMG. It is stacking advantages. The freeze was on from Kalista. It was successful for the last 5 minutes. No other big objectives coming for OMG, but now the last outer turret and the snowball kills. 4-1-1 and a Phantom Dancer to add to the Infinity Edge. Uzi's primed to carry, but the teleport's coming in.
Amazing J onto Cool there. Cloud going to try and lock him up. Great double rupture there coming in. And Amazing J actually getting low. Cool with the ulti. They're still so tanky with this Rod of Ages being done so early. Cloud might go down, but Cool could maybe turn around the 1v2. Amazing J will go down. Zhang Ao's here though as well. And Cool out of mana will give Cho'Gath the double.
But Zhang Ao literally walked from the bottom of the map to the top and doesn't even get kill credit. Looks like they could have probably given it over to the AD carry to justify the fact that he's going to miss 3-4 minion waves. You can see on the minimap a massive minion wave pushing around to the bottom. And I see your surprise because the Catalyst, it felt like Low was going to get just too late a timing on the Rod of Ages. So he's just gone for the Righteous Glory.
Yeah, Emergency Righteous Glory. We used to see it in the early Marco days in the weeks of the LPL. Not the best build to default to as Emergency. I like the Morellonomicon a lot. We'll probably see the 40% CDR Cho'Gath build coming through, but Righteous Glory means that Low is not having a fun time.
Look, I really like Righteous Glory on patch 5.5, 5.6. Buffed up to 650 health with a match with health stack. Then you get the Shirelles-like effect, the Talisman-like effect with the active, but I agree with you. It's just going to be fairly ignorable damage. It's only going to be, if it does become 40%, it's only going to be about consistent CC rather than consistent burst damage, apart from when you get in range for the Feast True damage, of course. And the other issue is that just helps the melee divers get in, but get in against an Anivia, that's not always the best spot to be in.
Yeah, stroke of genius on this Anivia pick by Cool, honestly. And OMG are going to move in to defend this next dragon and pick up their second. Uzi coming in with a Phantom Dancer now as well to join his Infinity Edge. And we've even got the Archandles done for Cool, stacking in towards the Seraph. So very tanky, very strong carries right now, sorry, with their 2 item spikes. And EP don't really want to pick a fight here.
EP, they still are in position. At the moment, it's 1-1 in Dragons, so definitely not going to be an early 5-stack coming through anytime soon. There's a lot of... It feels like OMG don't want to look for the initiation. Again, they're a team that are much more comfortable when they're being initiated upon, unless they can get a massive pick from the Thrill of the Hunt.
Yeah, Uzi's pushing, so I think that's why EP did back away, but OMG will get position of the Dragon as a result. It's a very back and forth here, and there aren't deep enough wards for OMG to pick EP into the rotation from mid. Loveling, though, going to pop the ulti, needs the vision, snares up Captain 57. Massive hook there coming through, and Cool just cleans him out as Cloud gets low, but does not fall and go going. It's gone massive on the backline. Uzi playing clean up to an amazing initiation there by go going. Loveling in the back, but the face of the mountain saves him. Dredgeline picks up Zhang Ao. Kalista can't go anywhere as Cool gets another kill.
Yeah, Uzi had wonderful position around the cove with max range rockets. Could not be aggressed upon whatsoever. Full health the whole fight. This should be the Dragon coming through. It'll be a slow one, but it will eventually die once Cloud and Go Going come for a bit of assistance. But another team fight win for OMG.
Yeah, Uzi's still down the bottom, pushing out now as well with those early Jinx rockets, and Cloud completely justifying the supporterless pick with that play.
I mean, the skill shots, give him more skill shots, he seems to start picking them up. The flash tippers wasn't working for him, but we're going to see the replay. Remember, they're fighting around a cove, and the wall can do so much work in this situation. When you have a Nautilus, you can get repeated picks, because again, his auto attack, his passive is just CC on auto attack. So the consistent fight of Go Going's double nah on Amazing J and Low is massive. And again, Uzi's so safe this whole fight. The wall actually is skipped behind, so not actually the biggest of walls, but the second dredge line comes through, and the damage follows from Cool's. E registers the kill, and a team fight win and a Dragon to OMG.
I'm glad we had that replay, because that was even better than I remember. Cloud plucked Zhang Ao out of the mid-martial poise with the dredge line.
Makes it look easy. That's what he does on the Morgana as well. He's very good at the skill shots. There's a reason that we've crowned him the most mechanically skilled of supports in the LPL. And this is a league with the likes of Marta in it, but his mechanics are wonderful. But his decision-making, those anti-tibbers, they were very questionable in Game 1. That's the only side of his game he really needs to work upon, because, man, when he gets to hit skill shots, he looks great.
And is one of the big common things for OMG. When they're ahead, they look fantastic. And Cloud might be the epitome of that philosophy for this team. And right now, OMG real far ahead, closing in on 8,000 gold in the lead. And Uzi has the deft tier Snowball QSS.
Nice Snowball QSS. That's the only thing he's worried about is a CC in the backline. Of course, doesn't help him against Cho'Gath. Will be very useful against the Equilibrium Strike or the Thresh Hook coming through. So not a bad purchase. And to be honest, no one's tanky enough in terms of armor. There's only really the Glacial Shroud coming through on Aurelia and then nothing in terms of resist. That there's no rush to build a Last Whisper.
Now Loveling going to ult on cooldown. Just look for a pick. We've seen a lot of this from King's jungler actually. He just love to use the Rango ult to just for vision here, and cool. We'll clear out a pink ward there with the help of Cloud. Good wall there to zone them off, and Glacial Storm will keep them at bay. And this Anivia, now they need to see Large Rod and the Sorcerer's Shoes. That is a rare pickup from Anivia.
Anivia feels like a lot like Rumble in that if you don't want to fight against her in a jungle when she has the ability to have an AoE ult that takes up a whole choke, and then just the wall, of course, devastating in a jungle fight. So you have to take the long way around to the turret, and what does that mean? It means time for Jinx in minigun form to just mow down your turrets. So if you get the aggressive wards in, you can take so many turrets so fast with rotation.
And Uzi even walking into minigun range. That's how confident he feels. OMG will zone them off. Cloud flash hooks there onto Logo going. Gonna run in looking for the initiation. Captain 57. We're gonna dredge it up. Go going. Massive flash now back just for a bit more space. Amazing J gonna get aggressed on, but everyone flashing out. Loveling will get hooked a piece, but Uzi going nuts. They gets a double kill until Cool snaps up his triple, and OMG will not stop pushing.
They don't have a minion wave. It's actually quite a long way away. Cool was tanking the turret just so they could let Uzi come back and mow it down in the minigun, but he's back now. Aurelia can only do so much. A bit of an onlooker, and it should be the first inhibitor of the game.
And Loveling just leaving, confident that his team doesn't need him in this situation, and with few seconds left on Lee Sin and 10 on Kalista. I can't blame him. Inhibitor will fall at under 24 minutes. Amazing J wants it, but he can't get through the Anivia ultimate, and EP real far behind now. In fact, 10,000 gold in the hole.
And the item timings are the big problem here for Energy Pacemaker in general pace time. No one's tanky and no one has a lot of damage, and that's kind of the issues. Usually you have one of the two. But I mean, we talked about Zhangao very early. He had the Vamp Scepter and the Recurve Bow. We wondered, okay, but when is he going to have the 2-item power spike we talk about? That Snowball 2-item power spike that you want at maybe 18, 19 minutes into the game, 24 minutes into the game. Still working on the Hurricane. Does have a big wave to mow down, so probably will have it soon. The Cho'Gath gone into an emergency Righteous Glory. That's not going to help him in terms of damage. And just the ability to get the Aurelia to the backline. Aurelia doesn't have the tankiness. It's always Trinity Force, then tanky. Trinity Force acquired very early. Did excellently in lane against the Gnar. But the Gnar ultimates compared to the Aurelia dive, the Gnar ultimates certainly have been doing massive work in fights.
Yeah, and with the tankiness not there yet, Uzi just going straight for a BT as his third item. And why not here? He's got his luxury QSS at this point. Pretty much unstoppable. Not to mention Cool almost on a death cap now. And you know that 2-item spike from Kalista, it's cheap. It's not Blue Ezreal cheap, but it's real cost efficient.
It is cost efficient. That tells you just how far Zhangao is in his second competitive game compared to his first especially. Looked wonderful, majestic almost on that Kalista in game 1, but struggling here. And the fact that Uzi can get into minigun range, 525 range under these turrets tells you that against a Cho'Gath, Aurelia, Lee Sin dive comp, EP's playing scared.
And Jinx is obnoxious when she's ahead. At this point, all the crit rockets coming in, AoE coming through. Loveling will get hooked, but he'll ignore most of that damage. He's not even that tanky, but he's just there for vision with the ulti and a bit of extra CC. And OMG have plenty of good tools, got going nice and tanky with the Randuins up as well. I mean, it's early into this game, and OMG are just ridiculously far ahead.
And Captain 57's going for the miracle pick. He hasn't been spotted, now has been spotted by the third ward. Had a pink in the brush, and now he's in trouble.
Yeah, Cloud gonna find him, in the whole train of CC from Nautilus comes in. Cool will collect another easy kill for himself, and Uzi just working on the turret solo.
I mean, Cool's burst damage at this point is deleting people. No magic just build up. There's another hook.
Shu getting found out there. The Fate Skull will save him. Uzi tanking turret, not optimal, but Loveling gonna get feasted on, will go down, but Thresh getting chased out. Great rocket there from Uzi will get the kill. Kalista gets zoned out by the Nautilus ultimate. And I mean, there's no minions out. They are coming through, and OMG aren't too afraid. Zhangao cannot approach here. Amazing J back to base as well. Another inhib tower will fall. The inhibitor in mid will fall shortly after, and OMG just running all over Energy Pacemaker.
For a second massive team fight in a row, the Uzi's positioning was wonderful. Actually just dies just during the surrender timing. Probably not worth remembering there for Uzi, but for a second fight in a row, he was fighting behind the base wall. He was finding safety in the base wall. There was no way for the melee champions to get over the base wall to kill him. So he was free hitting, got the reset with the ultimate, and OMG, 1-on-1, not ideal against bottom place Energy Pacemaker, but at least they get a bit of pride back after a poor showing in game 1.
You can see Go going Just big smile on his face. Uzi with a nice wry smile after the win as well. EP, little despondent, I have to say. I mean, not surprising. They were poised to get 3 points in a miracle upset it would have been. That was almost 1 versus 12 as far as matchups goes. They'll take the 1 point. It's better than nothing, but OMG, again, whenever they win, we wonder, where did the OMG from the other game go? Because that is another split they probably didn't need.
Yeah, but EP, they're the team that really kind of has to hang their head a little bit. Earlier in the season, 1 point against OMG, bonus point, they would have said. But with 5 series left, requiring 9 points, 1 point, that's still 8 points behind, and that's against a King lineup and an M3 that have, I believe, each 4 series to play themselves. When you're preying upon so many results going your way, it's probably not going to go their way for EP. So although they're not mathematically eliminated, they're not far from it.
And it's a hard road coming up for Energy Pacemaker, but OMG will collect the win and a bit of pride back as well. Don't go too far, though. We're going to have a quick commercial break, but when we return, we'll have our second match for the LPL.